Grand Rising, everyone. Grand Rising. Peace and love to everyone. Happy Tuesday. It is your girl, Empress ShayMarie. Back for another video reading today, you guys. Sorry about that. So, back for another video reading. I know it's pretty early, but I decided to go live today, go live at this time because I have some quiet time. Not a lot of distractions, so I'm going to share this video out. So give me a few moments. Thank you. Grand Rising to you if you're watching. Hope everyone's weekend was beautiful. Our extended weekend, or we don't like to call it a weekend. Someone in my community, Mr. Somebody, gave a great analogy or great phrase of, we don't want to have a week like a W-E-A-K weekend. So we want to have a powerful Grand Rising, Willie. Grand Rising. Peace and love to you. I'm doing well. And Grand Rising millionaire status. I just discovered this info. Does a person need to go to school to learn this, or I teach it? You teach it? Well, I have a community. We're learning together. I'm basically providing these readings for everyone to, for those who don't have time to read. It's not anything that you would go to school for. It's kind of self-education. And self-education is the best form of education. So, no, it's not anything you would need to go to school for. I've been studying this information for about the last 3 years and really just started to take it serious, extremely serious in the last year. So amazing things have been taking place since then. A lot of revelation, a lot of information. Y'all hit the thumbs up button for me. I got 6 viewers. So thank y'all. Come on in. Peace, sister. I have the same books as you. I'm going to read with you. That's what we're here for, to learn and grow together. So I do have a community. Initially, it was going to be for the first 100 people. I probably will have more space available because I'm going to be booting some people out that are not active in my community, and that are just sitting there being logs. I do not like stuff like that. So I like interactive people. So if you'd like to join the community, you will have to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, before you're able to join. So what you would have to do is email me to get the NDA. My email address is ShayMarieInc@gmail.com. ShayMarieInc@gmail.com. Send me an email and I'll shoot you the NDA. So I need to have as many likes as I have viewers. So make sure y'all hit that like button if you're just popping in. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to be reading from chapter 14 on for about an hour or so. I might give y'all a little bit extra time today. So I'm reading from The Commercial Law Applied, Learn to Play the Game. This book is by David Robinson. So you can go back and check the other 2 videos. So far we've read up to chapter 13 and we're going to pick up on chapter 14 today, okay? So thank y'all for the likes. Make sure y'all share this out as well. Get this information out to as many people as possible. We need to be waking up our people. because the only way that anything is going to change is by people being aware of the fact that they are still in slavery and they're being taken advantage of in a very tyrannical way. A lot of what has transpired over the past couple of years with the government and the pandemic and all of that was something that was planned. And wasn't David Robinson a basketball player in the 90s? I'm not sure about that. This David Robinson is a Caucasian dude, though. He's one of our Caucasian brothers. So I don't know if it's the same person. European Princess, welcome. Thank y'all for joining. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with the book, guys. Um, just picking up on chapter 14, the law of presumption. And it reads, a presumption, y'all excuse my voice, is still very early. A presumption is a legal inference or assumption that a fact exists based on the known proven existence of some other fact or group of facts. Black's Law Dictionary, 7th edition, page 1203. And I got, if you come to my community, I have Black's Law Dictionary on PDF that I can be able to share. Actually, you can download it from the group chat. I have plenty of reading material. No, David Robinson, the ball player, hasn't wrote this book. A hybrid European did. All right. So it says, most presumptions are rules of evidence calling for certain results in a given case unless the party adversely affected overcomes it with other evidence. A presumption shifts the burden of proof or persuasion to the opposing party, who can then attempt to overcome the presumption. The IRS makes presumptions about your status which are not true. A resident of any of the 50 states of the Union who has ignorantly filed one or more IRS 1040 form in the past is presumed by the IRS to be an individual who is subject to the individual income tax. Filed IRS 1040 forms allow the IRS to presume that this individual was required to file or voluntarily chose to be treated as a taxpayer who is required to file. The IRS is entitled to presume that this non-resident of the federal zone, the District of Columbia, and its territorial possessions has volunteered or is volunteering to become a taxpayer, an individual subject to the Internal Revenue Tax, the tax internal to the federal zone. ShayMarie, when are you going to free us from the slavery, oppression, tyranny? Well, you got to free yourself. I can't free you. You got to do that on your own. That's what my community is for. So that we're learning and growing in there, getting things done. So you got to come to the community to know what's going on. I mean, it's nothing I can do for you. Like I said, you have to do that for yourself. The term presumption, and I think we read this chapter last week, but I'm going to keep on. The term presumption has a special meaning. That's what I get for not marking it. Has a special meaning in tax law. A presumption is a logical supposition of a particular fact. The Uniform Commercial Code UCC defines presumption this way at UCC Article 1, General Provisions, Part 2, Section 1-201, General Definitions. Presumption or presumed means that the trier of fact must find the fact presumed until evidence is introduced to prove it untrue. UCC 1-201-31. Black's Law Dictionary, the 6th edition, defines presumption as follows. A presumption is a rule of law by which a presumed fact exists as true until it is rebutted. a legal interference that operates in the absence of proof. There are two opposite kinds of presumptions, conclusive and rebuttal. A conclusive presumption is one for which available proof renders it so conclusive that it cannot be rebutted. To rebut, yeah, since that highlighter shows better on the camera as also as we Moors don't read unless we have one. One gotta have it below. Yeah, I got a highlighter, but I didn't highlight it. Yeah, you're right about that. Okay, so it says we are mainly interested in rebuttal presumptions because the Code of Federal Regulations makes certain presumptions non-resident aliens of the federal zone. Okay, 26 CFR 1.871-4, proof of residence of aliens of the federal zone. A. Rules of evidence. The following rules of evidence shall govern in determining whether or not an alien within the United States has acquired residence therein for purposes of the income tax. Non-residence presumed an alien by reason of his alienage is presumed to be a non-resident alien. Emphasis added. Treasury regulations here are very clear about a key presumption that the IRS makes about aliens of the federal zone. Because of their alienage, all aliens are presumed to be non-resident aliens. This presumption is built into the law because the Code of Federal Regulations is considered to have the force of law. Courts have ruled that the CFR is a supplement to the published Federal Register, which puts the general public on actual notice. This presumption is a rebuttal presumption. The regulations establish the rules by which this presumption can be rebutted or disproved as follows. C2. Other aliens. In the case of other not departing aliens, the presumption as the alien's non-residence may be overcome by proof. 1. That the alien has filed a declaration of his intention to become a citizen of the United States under the naturalization law, or 2. That the alien has filed Form 1078 or its equivalent, or 3. Of facts and statements of an alien showing a definite intention to acquire residence in the United States, or showing that his stay in the United States incorporation has been of such an extended nature as to constitute him a resident. So yeah, we did read this chapter. This was like the last chapter I read last week. And remember, I was saying this is like the trick bag they get you into. So you have to like really understand and pay attention to what they're telling you for the most part, because a lot of people can get tricked up by this. Filing a declaration of intent to become a U.S. citizen will rebut the presumption. Act or statement by alien showing a definite intent to acquire residence will also rebut the presumption. Form 1078 is a certificate of alien claiming residence in the United States, Inc. The IRS printed product catalog document 7130 describes the form as follows. Form 1078, certificate of alien claiming residence in the United States. Who may file? A resident alien may file the original and one copy of this certificate with the withholding agent to claim the benefit of U.S. Inc. resident for income tax purposes. Notice this explicit reference to the benefit of U.S. Inc. residents for income tax purposes. What are the benefits of U.S. residents for income tax purposes? The benefits of being under the protection of Congress and thereby subject to its exclusive jurisdiction. The actual scope of Social Security, for example, is limited to the federal zone, except for those outside the zone who wish to voluntarily partake of its benefits. Under the law of presumption, your use of a Social Security number can be treated by the federal government as proof that you have opted to receive benefits from the federal zone. Form 1078 is ready made for those who begin as non-resident aliens but later choose to declare themselves as a resident in the United States in order to claim the benefit of that resident, which in honestly there is really no benefit. Form 1078 declares a non-resident alien to be a resident for income tax purposes. Form 1078 moves non-resident aliens into the jurisdiction of the federal zone. There are other ways by which the presumed non-residence of aliens can be rebutted or disproved by the IRS, thereby moving them over into the federal zone. For example, if non-resident aliens sign a W-4, they are presumed to be government employees, having income from a source inside the federal zone. Employers are to treat all employees as residents of the federal zone and withhold pay as if they, the employers, have not been instructed otherwise by the employees. Notice. Notice how the presumption has shifted, contrary to the regulations at 26 CFR 1.871.4. Quoted previously, employers are told by the IRS to make the opposite presumption about the residence of their employees, even if they are not true employees of the federal zone, as that term is defined in the IRC. If individuals have signed W-4 and W-2 forms, the presumption is that they were required to sign these forms or that they made the election to be treated as residents. Recall that the instructions for Form 1040-NR describe the election to be taxed as a resident alien. This is accomplished by filing an income tax return on Form 1040 or 1040A, and attaching a statement confirming the election. Thank you, Rainstar. A very subtle indicator of one's status is the perjury oath found on IRS forms. Under Title 28 of the U.S. Codes, Section 1746, there are two different perjury oaths to which penalties attach, one within the United States and one without the United States. If an oath is executed without the United States, it reads, "I declare," or certify, verify, or state under penalty of perjury under the laws of the United States of America that the foregoing is true and correct. If an oath is executed within the United States, it reads, "I declare," or certify, verify, or state under penalty of perjury that the foregoing is true and correct. Thus, your signature under the latter oath can be presumed to mean that you are already subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. This latter oath is the one found on IRS Form 1040. When you unknowingly rebut your status of being a non-resident of the District United States by having filed one or more 1040 forms in the past, the filed 1040 forms do not cast the situation into concrete. This presumption is rebuttable. The IRS formulates the presumption from these filed forms that you are an employee of the District United States, who is subject to the individual income tax and required to file. If you file under the mistaken belief that you were required to file, that mistaken belief is and of itself does not turn you into a person who is required to file. Tax liability is not a matter of belief, it's a matter of jurisdiction. Tax liability is a matter of your status and the jurisdiction in which you live, according to what you claim them to be. Your best approach is to clean the slate. In other words, clear the administrative record of any written documents which you may have filed in error or in the mistaken belief that you were required to file. An affidavit of rescission can be used to clean the slate of constructive fraud that Congress and other federal officials have perpetrated on the American people. Now, this law of presumption works both ways. You can use it to your advantage, as can anyone else. One of the most surprising discoveries made by the freedom movement in America concerns the bank signature card. If you have a checking or savings account at a bank, you may remember being required to sign your name and on several documents when you opened that account. One of these documents was the bank signature card. You may have been told that the bank needed your signature to compare it to the signatures you would make on the checks you write to detect forgeries. The explanation sounded reasonable, so you signed your name on the bank signature card. What the bank officer probably did not tell you was that you signed your name on a contract whereby you agreed to abide by all rules and regulations of the Secretary of the Treasury of Puerto Rico. Bank signature cards typically contain such a clause in the fine print. These rules and regulations include, but are not limited to, the Internal Revenue Code, IRC, also 2,000 pages of it, all 2,000 pages of it, and the Code of Federal Regulations, CFR, for the IRC. These rules may also include every last word of the Federal Reserve Act, another gigantic statute. Now, did the bank have all 8,000 pages of the IRC and its regulations on exhibit for you to examine upon request before you signed the card? Nope. Your bank should be willing to identify clearly what rules and regulations silently adhere to your signature. You are presumed to be a person who knows how to read a contract before you sign your name to it. And once your wet ink signature is on the contract, the federal government presumes that you knew what you were agreeing to when you signed this contract. That's why nationality is the order, because we are not subject individuals, residents, stateless, black, African American, absolutely. Blacks code, lost at sea. Facts. Facts, just call me bae. Um, it says, here's why, instead of telling you that the bank needed your signature to catch forgeries, imagine that the bank officer described the bank signature card as follows. Greetings from Italy. Your signature on this card would create a contract between you and the Secretary of the Treasury of Puerto Rico. The Secretary is not the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury of the United States, because the U.S. Treasury Department referred to on the bank signature card is a private corporation which has been set up to enforce private rules and regulations. These rules and regulations have been established to discharge the bankruptcy of the federal government. Your signature on this card would be taken to mean that you are volunteering to subject yourself to a foreign jurisdiction, to a municipal corporation known as the District of Columbia and its private offspring, the Federal Reserve System. You would be accepting the benefit of limited liability offered to you by this private corporation for using their commercial paper. Federal Reserve notes to discharge your debts without the need for silver or gold. By accepting these benefits, you would be admitting to the waiver of all rights guaranteed to you by the Constitution for the United States of America, because the Constitution cannot impair any obligation in the contract you would be entering by signing this card. Your waiver of these rights would be presumed to be voluntary, and as a result of knowingly intelligent acts done with sufficient awareness of the relevant circumstances and likely consequences, as explained by the Supreme Court on the case of Brady versus U.S. With your signature on this card, the Internal Revenue Service, a collection agency for the Federal Reserve System, would be authorized to attach levies against any and all of your account balances in order to satisfy any unmade liabilities which the IRS determines to exist. You would have been waiving all rights against against self-incrimination, and you would not be entitled to due process of law in federal administrative tribunals. Where the U.S. Constitution cannot be invoked to protect you, and where your home, papers, and effects would not be secured against search and seizure. Now, please sign this card here. No, that's not the disclosure that most of us are given. I can guarantee you. It's crazy we as people can actually cancel debt and claiming land, never paying its power in numbers. We can do it signed with red ink, which is living, versus black, which is dead. Absolutely. Absolutely. Just call me Bay. All right. It says, Chapter 15, The Law of Presumption says, how does the law of presumption help you in this situation with your bank card? First of all, you presume that your signature was required to compare it with signatures on checks you plan to write. This was a reasonable presumption because that's what the bank officer told you, but it is also a rebuttable presumption because of what the fine print said. That fine print can be used to rebut your presumption when push comes to shove in a court of law. The federal government presumes that you knew what you were doing when you signed this contract. Well, did you? Did the bank officer explain all the terms and conditions attached thereto, as explained above? Did you read all 8,000 pages of law and regulations before deciding to sign this contract? Did you even know they existed? Was your signature on this contract a voluntary, intentional, and knowingly intelligent act done with sufficient awareness of all its relevant consequences and likely circumstances? The Supreme Court has stated clearly that waivers of constitutional rights does not only I'm sorry, of constitutional rights must not only be voluntary, but must be knowingly intelligent acts done with sufficient awareness of the relevant circumstances and likely consequences. Brady versus U.S. 397, U.S. 74 through 742 and 748, 1970. Let me check the comments. Shay, hopefully I can be on your level of knowledge about this and be free. You absolutely can, millionaire status. Like I said, I'm here providing this knowledge to you all, reading for you all, for those who can't read or don't have time to read. And then I also have the community, Freedom Writers. Freedom Writers community. We're building, we're learning together, and we're getting shit done, correcting our statuses, authenticating birth certificates, and things of that nature. So, like I said, if you want to join Freedom Writers, you have to sign an NDA. So you need to email me. Email me at ShayMarieInc@gmail.com. That's ShayMarieInc, I-N-C, ShayMarieInc@gmail.com. Okay? Let's see what. So true about commercial law created by central bankers and the cabal. Common law is more free and constitutional. Absolutely, Harlan Bassam. Thank you for your comment. And Just Call Me Bay said they lied to us since birth, violating our moral woman. Uh-oh. I can't see it now. Okay, here it goes. Are more women? Why would you bring paperwork to a child being brought into the world? They knew what exactly. They knew what they was doing, but we going to get the facts. Love you, sis. Absolutely, love you as well. Love you as well. So moving along, it says, fortunately, you and me, the federal government's presumptions about you and me are also rebuttable. Why? Because the feds are guilty of fraud by not disclosing the nature of the bankruptcy, which they are using to envelope the American people like an octopus with suction tentacle in everybody's wallet, adults and children alike. The banks are unwitting parties to the fraud because the Congress has a controlling interest in the banks through the FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, and their traffic in Federal Reserve notes and other commercial paper issued by the Federal Reserve banks with the help of their agent, the private Treasury Department of Puerto Rico. Since this fraud can attach to your bank accounts without your knowledge or consent, it is generally a good idea to notify your bank in writing that the IRS cannot inspect any of your bank accounts records unless you specifically authorize such inspection by executing an IRS Form 6014. The IRS Printed Products Catalog describes this form as follows: authorization, access to the third party records for Internal Revenue Services in service employees, authorization from taxpayers to third parties for IRS employees to examine. Now, I read this, like I said last week to you all, and after I went to look up the Form 6014 and I could not find it, and I believe there is a form in replacement of that. And I don't want to say what it is on here because I'm not too sure yet, but I think I know what it is. But I don't want to put it on here because people like to take your information and run with it as if it is 100% fact. And I don't want nobody coming back saying, you told me to do this. Nope, 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 nope. So I'm going to be, I think I know what it is, but I'm not going to say here. Make explicit reference to this form in a routine letter to your bank. Inform the appropriate bank officers that they must have a completed Form 6014 on file with your authorized wet ink signature before they can legally allow any IRS employees to examine your bank account records. Then state discreetly that you hereby reserve your fundamental right to withhold your authorized signature from Form 6014 because it would constitute a waiver of your Fourth Amendment rights to privacy, and no agency of government can compel you to waive any of your fundamental rights, such as those explicitly guaranteed by the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution for the United States of America. Banks are chartered by the United States in which they do business, and as such, they are agencies of the state government. You might also cite pertinent sections in your state constitution, particularly if it mandates that the U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land, as it does in the California Constitution of 1879. Finally, you may wish to state that Form 6014 does not apply to you anyway because you are not a taxpayer, as that term is defined by Section 7701A14 of the Internal Revenue Code. Therefore, the bank is not authorized to release information about you to the IRS employees, period. You guys want to look up Section 7701 of the IRC, okay? A14. Social Security is another example of a fraudulent contract with a built-in presumption. Your signature on the original application for Social Security, the SS5 form, is presumed by the federal government to mean that you knew what you were getting into, namely that you knew it is voluntary that you knew it is a true insurance program, that you knew it is instead a tax. Okay, let me rewind. I got tongue tied in this before. So it says, it is presumed by the federal government that you mean government to mean that you knew that you were getting into, namely that you knew it is voluntarily, that you knew it isn't a true insurance program, and that you knew it is instead a tax, that you knew Congress reserved to itself the authority to change its rules at any time, and that you knew it makes you a subject of Congress because you knowingly, intentionally, and voluntarily chose to accept the benefits of this government program. Now, ask yourself these questions. How could you have known any of these things since nobody told you? Could you have known since the real truth is systematically kept from you? Could you have known how could you have known if all applicable terms and conditions were not disclosed to you before you joined the program? And how could you have known or had made a capable adult decision in this matter when you signed the form as a minor or when your parents signed the form for you? The answer to these questions are the same. There is just no way. For the record, Black's Law Dictionary, the 6th edition, defines fraud as follows. Fraud is an intentional perversion of truth for the purpose of including another individual in reliance upon it to part with someone valuable. With some valuable things belonging to him or to surrender a legal right. A false presentation of a matter of fact, whether by words or by conduct, by false or misleading allegations, or by concealment of that which should be or which should have been disclosed, which deceives and is intended to deceive another, so that he shall act upon it to his legal injury. The law with respect to fraud is crystal clear. Constructive fraud as well as actual fraud may be basis of cancellation of any instrument. El Paso Natural Gas Company versus Kaiser Insurance Company, 605 Pacific 2D 240, 1979. Reverse these anonymous presumptions which the federal government is entitled to make about the so-called contract you signed at your friendly local bank, or the contract you signed to apply for Social Security. Okay, let me check the comments. I got 21 viewers and 17 likes. Hit the like button, everyone that hasn't so far. Gigi says, Grand Rising Queen, FYI, Global Chief Federal Postal Court Judge and Planetary has videos on this. I'm quite sure he does. I know all about him. There's plenty of information out there. I'm just doing my part. The presumption of innocence. A very effective technique to employ in a court hearing is, this is chapter 16, by the way. A very effective technique to employ in a court hearing is to use the presumption of innocence doctrine to trap the judge into admitting that one, the prosecutor has such a high burden of proof that he couldn't possibly convict. Two, that the court is using prejudicial presumptions that destroy your sovereignty and rights. Message retracted. Okay, who's retracting messages? And what are you saying? Just call me bae. I see 3 messages retracted from you. Let me see. I don't have any moderators in here. Welcome to the live chat. Yep. Shay, I have the Black's Law Dictionary 6th edition. Is that a good one to have? Yeah, that's a good one to have. 6 is good. Anything over like 6, they say that like the definitions are different. You get more explanation in the older versions. So yes. Here is an example of a court dialogue between a defendant and the judge which demonstrates this technique. 1. Complete the form to indicate your plea. State that you are proposing a plea of guilty but do not sign the form. Wait in traffic court for your name to be called. When your opportunity to be heard by the court occurs, follow the technique below. Court, what is your plea? Your Honor, I propose a plea of guilty. I can't sign my plea form until I understand the charges completely and have had my rights read to me. I'm not a lawyer and I do not want a trial, but I like to understand the criminal charges against me and have them explained to me by the court. I'd like to avoid this whole thing. I have a life and a job, and I'd like to get on with both. I don't understand all the ins and outs. As long as I Apologies, had a phone call coming in. As long as I can be fully informed, I'd be happy to pay your fine. Most people believe that their birth certificate, hold on, what is being said? Most people believe that their birth certificate, passport, driver's license are simply forms of identification. However, they are actually financial instruments. Yes, we know that, Harlem. We just about know that by now. Shay, do you recommend us reading the books twice so that they can? Absolutely. I recommend you reading it as many times as you possibly need to, because you're not going to learn this stuff just by reading it once. So that's another reason why I'm reading it for you guys, so you can maybe like start playing it to yourselves in your sleep with some headphones on, letting it get into your subconscious mind as well. Okay? So it says, court. Okay. Well, what are your questions? Am I entitled to a fair trial? Yes, you are entitled to a fair trial. We're fair in this court. That's great, Your Honor. Am I entitled to a meaningful hearing? The court will say yes, absolutely. You will say, so if I ask questions, I can expect that you would be responsive. The court will say yes. You will say, if there is something I don't understand, you will do your best to explain it to me. The court will say yes. You will say, great, thank you. Am I presumed innocent of this alleged crime? The court will say, yes, of course you are. You will say, well, good, I am presumed innocent. Am I presumed innocent of every element of this alleged crime? The court will say, you're presumed innocent of the charge. Move on. The judge now has to be more specific and apply innocence to each fact. Peace and love, Mr. Somebody. The judge now has to be more specific and apply innocence to each fact that must be proved with evidence. He has already said that you are presumed innocent. Now he has to follow through with his part of the contract. The judge, however, usually won't be laughing because he is the one who must enforce the burden of proof you have just established against the prosecutor. Other lawyers in the room might think, how many elements do you think there are? It's not your burden to know how many elements there are. That's the cops and the prosecutor's job. So you'll say, well, Your Honor, no, I can't move on. I don't understand. I need a response of yes or no, sir. Am I presumed innocent of every element of this alleged crime? At this point, the judge will often turn red. He wants to impose his presumptions upon you, but he can't do it now, for you have created a tremendous burden of proof that will make it extremely labor intensive for him and the prosecutor to pick your pocket as a team. The court gruffly will say, you are presumed innocent of the charge. Now move on. You will say, sir, with all due respect, I can't move on. I need a response of yes or no to my last question. Yes or no. Are you going to answer me or not? You said you would answer my questions. At this point, the judge usually calls in security and will have you hauled out. This looks really bad to observers in the court who are watching, because all you are doing is engaging in discovery, and the court is violating your rights of discovery and your right to fair trial. He doesn't want others in the courtroom imitating this technique, and he doesn't want to make any more work for himself and the prosecutor than he has to. You have checkmate him into acting irrationally and denying you due process of law. You have now set yourself free. Okay. Clearing the slate. Affidavit of foreign status. Okay, this is getting into affidavits of foreign status now. Let's check the comments. Okay. Shay, I also have asset protection. Yep, that's a good book. I'm going to be reading that next. Have you read it? Just got it yesterday. Yes, I've read it. I'll be reading that here next after we complete this book. How did you know? You act like you're reading my mind. That's very good. You picked the book up, though. I'm glad you all are getting excited about getting this knowledge. Smash, bro. Like, okay. Thank you, Shay. So we're going to get into clearing the slate with the affidavit foreign of status, okay? Or affidavit of foreign status, should I say. I'm glad I got some moderators here now. So I know it was some redacted messages. Okay, I can read it. That's why nationality is the order of the day. Okay. I guess you deleted your own message. I don't know. Okay, so moving forward, it says this affidavit, don't worry you guys, I'm not going to be ending this in an hour. I'm going to give you guys more of my time today. So it says this affidavit of foreign status is a public notice to all interested parties concerning the affiant's birthrights and his status as an American inhabitant, as the status would apply with respect to the American states, the 50 independent states of the Union, and with respect to the United States as follows. 1. The undersigned affiant was naturally born as a free sovereign in the affiant's state of birth, which is one of the sovereign states of the Union of several states joined together comprising the Confederation known as the United States of America. The affiant state is therefore a non-resident alien individual residing in United States, which entity obtains its exclusive legislative authority and jurisdiction from Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, and Article 4, Section 3, Clause 2 of the Constitution for the United States of America. 3. The affiant's parents were sovereigns also, born in sovereign states of the Union. 4. As the progeny of sovereign people, the affiant was born one of the sovereign people, a constituent member of the sovereign, synonymous with the people. Scott versus Sanford, 19. Howe, 404. 5. The affiant is an alien to a so-called 14th Amendment United States citizen and a non-resident to so-called 14th Amendment state residency, and therefore he is a non-resident alien with respect to both. 6. As a sovereign whose citizenship originated in affiant's state of birth and who has remained intact in affiant's state of birth since then, the affiant is also a foreigner, alien, with respect to the 49 states of the Union and with respect to the corporate United States. As a consequence of birth, and the affiant is an American inhabitant. 8. The affiant, to the best of his knowledge and belief, has not entered into any valid agreements of voluntary servitude. 9. The affiant is a non-resident alien with respect to the United States, as that term is defined and used within the Internal Revenue Code, IRC, Title 26, United States Code, the Title 27, and the rules of regulations promulgated thereunder as follows. The Internal Revenue Code, Title 26, United States Code, and associated federal regulations clearly and thoroughly make provision for Americans born and living within one of the 50 sovereign states of America, to wit, 26 CFR 1.871-4, proof of residence of aliens of the federal zone. A. Rules of evidence. The following rules of evidence shall govern in determining whether or not an alien within the United States has acquired residence therein for purposes of income taxes. B. Non-residence presumed. An alien, by reason of his alienage, is presumed to be a non-resident alien. Number 10, the affiant was not born or naturalized in the United States. Consequently, he is not a citizen of the United States, nor a United States citizen, as those terms are defined and used within the Internal Revenue Code 26 USC and Title 27 and the rules of regulations promulgated thereunder, and therefore he is not subject to the limited, exclusive territorial or political jurisdiction and authority to the United States as defined. The United States is definitive and specific when it defines one of its citizens as follows: 26 CFR 1.1-1, income tax on individuals. C. Who is a citizen? Every person born or naturalized in the United States and subject to its jurisdiction is a citizen. 11. The affiant is not a citizen of the United States, nor a United States citizen living abroad, as these phrases are defined and used within the Internal Revenue Code 26 USC and or Title 27 and the rules and regulations promulgated thereunder. 12. The affiant is not a resident alien residing within the geographical boundaries of the United States, as that phrase is defined and used within the Internal Revenue Code 26 USC and the Title 27, the rules and regulations promulgated thereunder. Okay. 13. The affiant is not a United States person, a domestic corporation, estate, trust, fiduciary, partnership, as those terms are defined and used within the Internal Revenue Code 26 USC and or Title 27 and the rules and regulations promulgated thereunder. The affiant is not an officer, employee, or elected official of the United States or a state or any political subdivision thereof, nor of the District of Columbia, nor of any agency or instrumentality of one or more of the foregoing, nor an officer of the United States corporation, as those terms are defined, blase, blase, blase. The affiant receives no income with respect to the employment from any sources within the territorial jurisdiction of the United States and does not have an office or other fixed place of business within the United States from which the affiant derives any income of wages as such as those terms and phrases are defined and used within the Internal Revenue Code 26 USC and or Title 27 and the rules and regulations promulgated thereunder. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, well, I'm gotta take that back because we don't say good morning, Norm. We say grand rising over here. There's no good in morning. Okay, so I gotta unread that and reverse that because there's no good in morning. So grand rising to you. Okay, from Columbia, British Columbia. Welcome. So number 17, the affiant receives no income, wages, self-employment income, or other remunerations from sources within the United States, as those terms are defined within the United States IRC USC 26 and the Title 27 and the rules and regulations promulgated thereunder. 18 are remuneration paid to the affiant is for services rendered outside without the exclusive territorial, political, and legislative jurisdiction and authority of the United States. 19. The affiant has never had an office or place of business within the United States, as those terms are defined and used within the Internal Revenue Code 26 USC and or Title 26 and the rules and regulations promulgated thereunder. The affiant has never been a United States employee, nor employer, nor employee, which also includes but is not limited to an employee and or employer for the United States household or agricultural activity. Of those terms are defined and used within the Internal Revenue Code 26 USC and the Title 27 of the rules and regulations promulgated thereunder. Number 21, the affiant has never been involved in any commerce within the territorial jurisdiction of the United States, which includes but is not limited to alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, and Title 16, Subtitle D and E, excises and privileged occupations, as those terms are defined and used within Internal Revenue Code 26 USC and or Title 27 of the rules and regulations promulgated thereunder. So y'all see how these titles and these codes are for United States households and agriculture, which probably majority of us are not doing. Tobacco and firearms. These are the alcohol. These are the codes that establishes who pays taxes. And so if you are not under one of these codes, then why the hell have we been paying taxes all of our lives? Because this information was not disclosed to us. That's why. And it's actually absolutely just flabbergasting to know and see the tricks and the traps that they put us under. The affiant has never been a United States citizen. This is 22. Without the affiant has never been a United States withholding agent, as those terms are defined and used within the Internal Revenue Code. Exactly. 23. The affiant has no liability for any type, kind, or class of federal income tax in past years and was entitled to a full and complete refund of any amounts withheld, because any liability asserted and amounts withheld were premised upon a mutual mistake or fact regarding the affiant's status. 24. The affiant has never knowingly, intentionally, and voluntarily changed his citizenship status, nor has he ever knowingly, intentionally, and voluntarily elected to be treated as a resident of the United States. 25. The affiant, to the best of his current knowledge, owes no tax of any type, class, or kind to the United States, as those terms are defined and used within the Internal Revenue Code 26 USC and or Title 27 of the rules and regulations promulgated thereunder. 26. The affiant anticipates no liability for any type, class, or kind of federal income tax in the current year, because the affiant does not intend to reside in the United States. He does not intend to be treated as a resident or a citizen of the United States. He is not and does not intend to be involved in the conduct or trade of business within the United States, as those terms are defined as the United States and used within the Internal Revenue Code 26 USC and or Title 27 of the rules and regulations promulgated thereunder. Islam to you, Messiah El. Islam, peace and love. Let's see, where were we at? 27. The affiant by means or knowingly intelligent acts done with sufficient awareness of the relevant circumstances and consequences. Brady versus U.S. 397, U.S. 742, 748, 1970. Never agreed or consented to be given a federal Social Security number or SSN. Same said as the Federal Employee Identification Number or EIN, and therefore waives and releases from liability the United States and any state of the Union of 50 states for any present or future benefit that the affiant may be entitled claim under the Old Age Survivors and Disability Insurance Act and or the Federal Unemployment Tax Act, which are and remain in force with respect to the artificial corporate entity established in his uppercase name. This is wild. I'm going to take a drink of water, guys, so give me a few seconds. How y'all doing in the chat? Number 27. The affiant makes no claim to any present or future benefits under any of the foregoing. 29. The affiant is a natural born, free inhabitant on the land, and as such is a sovereign citizen. Do not put this information, you guys. Let me cross this shit out. We are not sovereign citizens because you can't be a fucking citizen. It's an oxymoron. So never use sovereign and citizen in the same sentence, please. Please don't ever do that. That's a trap. I'm doing my best, Empress. Awesome, Mr. Somebody. It's gonna get better. Just hold on in there. Things definitely about to be looking up. I know how it is. But I gotta make sure y'all get that. Please do never, ever. You're sovereign, but you're not a citizen. Please don't use those words together ever. Okay, number 30. The affiant is not within the United States, but lawfully is without the United States per Title 28 U.S.C. Section 1746, subsection 1, and therefore has no standing capacity to sign any tax form which displays the perjury clause pursuant to Title 28, Section 746, subsection 2. Please note, at no time will the affiant construe any of the foregoing terms defined within the Internal Revenue Code, Title 16, U.S. United States Code, or within any of the other United States codes in the metaphorical sense, when terms are not words of art and are explicitly defined within the code and or within a statute. The affiant relies at all times upon the clear language the clear language of terms as they are defined therein, no more or no less. When aid to construction of the meaning of words as used in the statute is available, there certainly can be no rule of law which forbids its use however clear the word may appear or superficial examination. So they can't be giving words their own meanings, y'all. Whatever it say in the book is what it's supposed to be. Okay? The United States versus American Trucking Association, 310 U.S. 534, 543, and 544, 1939. This sworn certification is being executed without the United States. The undersigned defiant below affirms, under penalty of perjury under the laws of the United States of America, that he executed the foregoing for the purpose and consideration herein expressed in the capacity stated, and that the statement contained herein are true and correct to the best of his knowledge. And as y'all can see, this is a signature. You always want to, as a living man and woman, you always want to sign on the right side of the paper, never on the left. And then this is how you can do your autograph. Citizen, I would not. Okay, so citizen is the principal. Citizen is the principal. So this is basically you separating yourself from the principal. So your citizen principal will be your all caps letter name. You'll type that in or write that in all caps, and then put by special appearance and propria persona in my person, in my own person, proceeding sui juris of full age and capacity, possessing full social and civil rights. Okay. Chapter 18. I'm going to probably go to read about 30 more minutes, okay? A declaration of freedom from the tyranny of the shadow world government. An open declaration of the U.S. federal government. 2. The President of the United States, U.S. Senate, U.S. House of Representatives, and the U.S. Supreme Court. There comes a time in the affairs of human mankind when it becomes necessary to throw off the yoke of tyranny which has insidiously taken over the government of the world. That moment has arrived, as this still new millennium has ineluctably place demands on we the people to stand in our own truth and take back our power. Herein lies the demands that we the people speak to power with indomitable conviction and undeterrable resolve. We the people of the U.S. inaugurate the global civil enterprise through these uncompromising demands made directly to the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of the United States federal government. As but a single collective representative by the world body politic, we implore the community of nations and all peoples everywhere to undertake this same endeavor wherever the need to break free from tyranny has become self-evident. We the people, as these the United States of America, USA, do solemnly take back our rights, liberties, and powers which are considered by all righteous government to be inalienable or unalienable from an unlawful and tyrannical U.S. federal government that has wrongfully and systematically encroached upon the inherent rights of its citizens. We the people acknowledge the wrongful usurpation of powers, as well as the jurisdictional and legal necessities originally possessed by the 50 sovereign states of the USA. There, through a long-standing, through a long-standing pattern of a legislative of unconstitutional law, these inherent powers have been unlawfully stripped from these sovereign states. Each state is now fully empowered to retain their original sovereign status as we established by the U.S. Constitution. We the people demand that the U.S. federal government immediately cease and desist from legislating, executing, and adjudicating all law which is not in strict compliance with natural common law and constitutional law. Furthermore, we demand an expedient we demand an expeditious review of all U.S. federal statutes in order to determine their fitness in this regard. We, the people, demand that the U.S. federal government immediately cease and desist from all illegal enforcement actions against its citizens, as well as citizens of other nations, which are in obvious contravention of international law, scriptural law, common law, and U.S. constitutional law. Towards this end, we demand the immediate closure of the extrajudicial detention facility in Guantanamo Bay, as well as the Parwan detention facility, formerly known as the Bagram Theater Internment Facility, and all others that operate outside the rubric of both the U.S. Criminal Law Code and Uniform Code of Military Justice. We, the people, demand an immediate and permanent suspension of every law, statute and rule, regulation that is in violation and in violation of divinely ordained human rights, civil rights, and constitutional rights, especially where these rights are violated in the course of the repugnant state-sponsored administration of torture by the U.S. federal government and its proxies in safe national havens around the world. We demand immediate termination of such inhumane and unacceptable conduct. We, the people, demand an immediate cessation to all war-making activity around the world. This includes the immediate withdrawal of troops from the illegal and undeclared wars of Iraq, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. This demand also includes the many wars being waged by proxy throughout covert agency CIA, as well as all corporate mercenary entities such as Wackenhut and XE Services Blackwater. The U.S. government will immediately end the illegal, and abhorrent practices of rendition, as well as the extrajudicial killing of foreign citizens by drones and any other means utilized in foreign lands. Y'all hear this? We, the people, further demand all economic and financial warfare being waged against the perceived enemies of the U.S. be permanently ended. The relentless manipulation of the financial economic markets of the world to include equity, bond, commodity, real estate, derivative, and currency must cease without exception. Furthermore, the U.S. Federal Reserve, privately owned international crime syndicate, must be placed in a temporary receivership as its collection agency. The IRS is dissolved and reconstituted as a lawful revenue collecting entity in order to carry on the affairs of the state. And that is actually what is happening now, you guys. The entire government is being kind of reconstructed. Okay, we're actually going back to the republic. The republic has been reestablished on the land, everyone. And so it is important that everyone knows this, that we are actually under a republic form of government, and it is not a democracy government anymore, even though the powers that assume, or that everyone assumes are the powers to be, are still showing in the mainstream media as if they are still in effect. They are not. And so we have to wake the people up so they can become aware of this and stop paying these people attention, period, so that we can get back to rebuilding our country. Okay, it says, we the people demand that the aerosol spraying of chemtrails, y'all see this, in our skies, fluoridation of water supplies, and the irradiation and chemical poisoning of our food be stopped. The EPA, FDA, are you live right now? You're watching me, Mr. Ray Bay. No offense, but yeah, it says live, doesn't it? That's true. There is a big difference between the free republic and the democracy. Absolutely. We are under a republic. The republic has been established or reestablished by Trump. There is a new constitution that was issued in 2020, you guys, in July. So a lot of people don't know that, but we do have a second constitution that was written by Trump for the republic. So this is a second constitution for the republic. There is another constitution that was for the democratic government. Okay, moving along, it says, we the people demand a planned and orderly dissolution of the current U.S. federal government. It has become apparent to all citizens that there has been a multi-decade an ongoing pattern of illegal conduct throughout the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of the U.S. government, which has been deemed to be profound and fundamental violation of the U.S. Constitution, um, as well as other fundamental, foundational governing documents. Uh-oh. Both the public trust and social contract have been irreversibly broken through this intractable, unlawful behavior, as the sacred governing documents of this once great nation have been left in tatters. We aim to see them restored to their rightful place and, over time, greatly improved upon the reflect and evolving realities and emerging needs of a rapidly changing world. We, the people, demand the planned election and appointment of law-abiding transitional U.S. government, which will assume the proper, timely, and thorough administration of all duties and responsibilities, starting with strict compliance with the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. This transitional government shall override all powers and perceived rights of governance which have been unlawfully arrogated unto the U.S. corporation and executed through the Uniform Commercial Code (UCC). Finally, we the people demand that a Truth and Reconciliation Commission be established in order for the suppressed truths regarding all matters of state that have taken place without the people's knowledge and consent, in which have unduly put the American people at great risk and in substantial jeopardy, be given a full airing within the public politic. We, the people, have spoken, and we expect a substantive response to these demands in the immediate future, whereupon the appropriate reestablishment of this constitutional republic may proceed forthwith. A national conference to discuss a restore American sovereignty plan will be convened with all deliberate speed. Okay. All right, so that was the appendix. So what I'm going to do is end the reading there. I'm going to chat with y'all for a little bit. So, let's see here. Fluoride in the toothpaste, right? City water and so much more. It was originally disposed of in a 50-gallon drum from aluminum metal manufacturing. Also causes dementia and sterilization. Absolutely. That's definitely what they've been doing to us, guys. Trying to kill us off. This is our land. If you are a brown person or a brown people, we are the original inhabitants of this land, of the Americas, of all lands actually, but especially of the Americas. And when I say the Americas, that's North, South, and Central America. Okay, we are the original inhabitants of those islands, of these adjoining islands. Okay. And this is our land. And so they've been basically trying to kill us off, slowly but surely. But how many people used to watch Bebe's Kids back in the day, right? And they were definitely depicting us in a bad light. But Bebe's Kids has so many different meanings to it. It's like that one saying when they said, "We don't die, we multiply." That was literally talking about the brown people. They can try to kill us off as much as we can, but bitch, we don't die, we multiply, and we never going nowhere. This is our shit. Like, the Great Spirit put us here first. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how the fuck y'all think y'all gonna get rid of us? It's not gonna happen. Let's see. So, we're gonna pick up most definitely reading from the appendix on. Now I'll remember where we was at. Matter of fact, let me highlight that right now. All right, so this is what we're gonna be reading from next time I come live, guys. We got to get through this book. It's only a few more pages. This is a 150 page book, and we're at 85, so we're over halfway through. So we're going to be reading the next half of that when I come back live the next time, and get this finished so we can start reading the asset protection book. Because most definitely asset protection is what we're going to be needing to do. That's like, once we correct our statuses, then yeah, once the status is corrected, we can all be doing this as simultaneously putting in the work, whatever. So that's what I'm teaching my class, how to get things done step by step. But while we're waiting on other things, we're working on other things at the same time. So stuff like setting up our trust accounts, or getting our banks right, our trusts drawn up, establishing our trust documents, and then also getting our bank accounts established in a trust accounts and things of that nature. Guys, some amazing things are definitely getting ready to happen this month, this coming up month. It's going to be a good and bad involved from it, that's going to stem from it. But if you've been paying attention and if you're doing what you need to do to get ready, you may or may not be affected negatively from it. More than likely, if you get ready, you don't have to. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Okay. Islam Mobile, studying this knowledge, Messiah L have learned that the learning contract law is essential. Absolutely, contract law is definitely contract law, trust law, commercial law. It all goes hand in hand. So that's definitely what we learn here on this channel. But thank you for that. Mr. Messiah L. Appreciate your comment. QFS, quantum computers, quantum voting, quantum financial system is coming. Absolutely, Harlan. That is absolutely right. So I hope you guys are doing your research, getting prepared. Hope you guys are getting your weight up. If you need help in that area, getting your weight up. And when I say get your weight up, I'm meaning in silver and gold. If you need help with that, contact me. I can put you in the right direction for that as well. Definitely want to get with me. Denver airport mural shows what Freemasons, Illuminati want to kill off Indian, Jewish, black people. 3 children in coffins below a communist soldier in... I heard something about the airport mural in Denver. That is very, very wild. That is crazy, Mr. Harlan. Thank you for sharing that. I've never been to Denver, so I'll have to go check that out. Pretty soon, my family and I are going to be hitting the road and taking this information worldwide. I mean, yeah, worldwide, nationwide, however you want to call it. You guys, because people need to know this information. We need to wake up. It's not enough. I guess me doing this on YouTube is not enough. I'm not getting not enough shares. And I'm not the only one doing this. I'm not the only one doing stuff like this. There's thousands of people that share this information, but we got millions of people to wake up. So, we got to get out here and put our foot to the pavement and, go out helping the homeless, feeding, the children that are starving and stuff like that. And, teaching this information on a grander scale because our people need to know. Our people need to know. They need to wake up and they need to know. So, let's see. In an attempt to dumb the population, let me finish reading this. In an attempt to dumb down the population is the use of fluoride in the water, toothpaste, and other products in which the use of fluoride is outlawed in other countries. Yeah, I heard about that. Y'all, yeah, they definitely don't use fluoride in other countries. Thank you for that, Rain Star. Let's see here. Cornell said, just know the ones that are reaching, the ones you are reaching, we so appreciate you. Absolutely, Mr. Davis. Absolutely. I appreciate you all as well. You all give me motivation to keep going because this stuff can get discouraging sometimes. And sometimes you feel like you're not getting through to people, but I think more and more people, more of y'all waking up every day. So thank y'all for y'all shares and y'all likes. Make sure y'all share this on y'all social medias with others so that they can get this information as too. Evil is against us all, right? On my Facebook page, I put up a post, and it's I got this from one of the people that I'm learning from. But he says, evil turns a mirror, or evil puts a mirror up to righteousness. Basically means lawful, lawful versus legal. Basically meaning is the undoing of God's laws, or of the undoing of universal laws. Y'all follow me on Facebook too, because that's a lot of my comment. If I'm not on YouTube reading stuff like that, I put a lot of information on Facebook, share a lot. So go look me up on Facebook, Empress ShayMarie, and the Empress is spelled with the M in the front instead of EM. It's Empress, so MPRESS. ShayMarie Bay is the name on Facebook, and you'll see my page. My page has the picture is it says Free Larry Hoover. That's the post. Great reading, Empress. Thank you. Absolutely, Mr. Somebody. See you in class tonight. Oh yeah, y'all better get into my Telegram chat. Like I said, if y'all want any access, email me. We having class tonight, actually, at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 6 p.m. Free Larry Hoover. Free Larry Hoover. It's actually a real movement, Mr. Cornell Davis, whether you know it or not. Just created an unincorporated trust last month with the EIN for it as well for the IRS, of course, for banking purposes. There you go. Boom. Putting in that work. Okay, you with it. Okay, cool. Yep. Let's see. Islam, Prophet Noble Drew Ali brought us the treasure to liberate self and modern colonization, just as Jesus did to his people that were being oppressed by the European nation. Yes. Peace and love and power to Prophet Noble Drew Ali for his works that he did. Y'all, oh, this is what I wanted to say. Y'all gotta go watch this movie. If you have a Fire Stick, like a jailbroken Fire Stick, go look up Green Pastures. It's called The Green Pastures. It's a movie from 1936, y'all. When y'all see this movie, I'm like, this don't look like nothing different from the niggas from today. Like, I'm like, is this not brainwashing on steroids? I mean, like, cause I'm putting two and two together. They, the 1933 is when when America went bankruptcy, they stole the gold from our ancestors, right? So now they had to put all this brainwashing and stuff out here to make us believe in Jesus and God, make us believe in all these different stories. It's called The Green Pastures. Yeah, The Green Pastures. Oh my God, that movie was mind blowing. I was sitting there and I fell asleep on some. I gotta go back and watch the end of it because I didn't even see the part about Jesus and all of that. But oh my God, y'all gotta go see that movie. And then while I was watching that movie, I kind of got a revelation of the fact that they literally had to dumb us down, y'all. Like, so a lot of the movies and stuff like that depicted us being, in like this whole entire country was already built up, y'all. It was already built up when the Albions came over here, or when the conquistadors came over here. And so they literally had to depict this country as if, they came over here and wasn't nothing established. And so if you pay attention to, like, in this movie and how Negroes were back then, pay attention to the way that they were dressing back then. I'm like, what in the world is going on? They literally, these move, I don't even know how to describe it, but just know that the brainwashing is real and been real for over hundreds of years, y'all. For over 100 years. Yes, The Green Pastures, Rain Star. That's how you type. That's how it looks. So if y'all got the Fire Stick, go pull it up on there. And you can watch it on YouTube. YouTube is charging like $2.99 for you to watch it. But that was a great, a crazy ass movie. But it was basically telling a story about us in that movie back then. How, we are Indians. We are the original inhabitants of this land. We're considered the angels of God. The angels of the universe, and how this is our land. And there are so many different ways you can look at that movie. Since Play-Doh, man, I'm trying to tell you, the brainwashing. I think, like, so, like, I go back and I watch old movies and stuff like this. I was like, it's either that they just made this movie. I'm looking at this movie like, either they just made this movie and trying to pass it off as a movie that was made in 1936, or they was really trying to dumb us down. And so, like, the movies and stuff like that came out after that was just like open land. You see a bunch of open land, no houses built, no, no, like, they not showing no country. I mean, like, the castles and stuff that was already here, the big churches and mausoleums and all of these big buildings that was already here, that they've basically created all type of natural disasters and stuff like that to sink underground and stuff like that. Like, man, I'm just like, so I got a revelation that a lot of more movies and things like that that are going to be coming out is going to be showing how we actually lived, how we were actually living back then. And so why last night on BET has a new series out called it's BET and CBS, I believe. working together. They have a new series out called The Porter, and this was from the 1920s. They're trying to depict how we were living in the 1920s. Okay, that's the stage of the movie or of the series. But the Green Pastures movie is supposed to be an actual movie from 1936, y'all. And I'm just like flabbergasted. There's just so much truth that's being exposed. What page? Well, we're gonna be on Zoom, but you gotta come to. You gotta be a part of my community in order to get to the Zoom class. I might put it on. I might put the link to the Zoom class in my community section of YouTube, like I did last week. So just be on the lookout for that. So make sure y'all subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that y'all can get notifications when I'm making posts. What page is your class going to be? Yeah, my community week basically communicate on Telegram, but when we get together, we are on Zoom. And probably if Zoom keep trying to charge me, I'm not going to be using them too long, and I'm going to be using Telegram just to go live. So y'all want to get into the Telegram chat as soon as you possibly can. But before you get there, you got to sign an NDA. You got to sign an NDA to get into my community. I'm protecting myself and my rights and stuff. Okay. Let's see. Human true history is being hidden from all peoples on earth. Yeah, it's not being hidden anymore though. It's all type of declassified files and stuff like that that's been released over the last like 5 years, thanks to President Trump. Like, I know y'all don't want to give that man so much praise, but you know he's been the one who been putting in the work. So y'all gotta give him credit, because then none of y'all niggas do it. So like, shut the fuck up and just give credit where it's due. At the end of the day, I'm not a part of class, but will be soon. Okay, well, email me, ShayMarieInc@gmail.com. Trump and the military, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, yeah, y'all go watch that movie though. It's a lot of stuff coming out. Just pay attention to the movies and stuff that's coming out. It's hit and met, like the movies and things like that in entertainment. It's all type of hidden messages in that. They have to tell us, and this is what they've been doing. They have to tell us what they are doing or what they're going to do. They have to give us notice, but they don't give us full disclosure notice like this book has been saying. They put shit in the movies or in the newspapers because they know we not gonna read that shit, or they decode certain store. They put different type of codings in their movies and stuff like that, so that people that are not woke and aware will not know it, and those who are will know what they're telling in these movies and messages. And so you got to pay attention. So when I'm watching, I'm not a TV watcher, but I pay attention to stuff that's coming out, and I try to look for a hidden message in everything. So I know I tell people all the time to turn the TV off, but that's for your own good, because if you're not consciously aware of what's happening and the psychological attack that's on your mind, and you don't know how to decipher the truth from, decipher a lie from reality and truth, then you don't need to be watching TV. You don't need to be listening to certain music. It's just certain shit that you gotta guard your minds with. And so now, like, how Christians, when our parents or whatever, you say turn that TV off, or you're not listening to that devil's music and shit like that. Now I get what they were saying. Now they should have, but they didn't know any better. They didn't know any better. They were too focused on God and Jesus at the time because of the brainwashing. But they were literally unconsciously telling us right, in all actuality, to stop You know, turn it on the TV. Stop listening to certain music. That's the devil's music. Blah, 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 blah. Because certain things have been used to infiltrate our minds, infiltrate us, you guys. They're weapons. They're literally weapons. You have to go look up silent weapons for quiet wars. If y'all look up silent weapons for quiet wars, you will literally know that we have been in war. Like, the war has been against us, and they've been attacking us for decades and centuries. So, you know, this is why our loved ones have been dying and stuff like that from these different diseases and sicknesses and ailments. They took us from the land, they took us from Mother Nature, and started giving us all of this processed foods, stuff that they're making with chemicals, man-made stuff. Like, literally, meat is not meat anymore. Like, if you're not killing that shit and doing what you got to do yourself, then you don't know what the fuck you eating, honestly. And so yeah, how movies from Hollywood show us things. It's witchcraft, spells, casting, show you before it happens. Absolutely. Cabal is satanic in nature. Absolutely. Let's see, my bad, y'all. Now I can't see the chat. See, here we go with the fuckery. All right, so unfortunately I can't see the chat no more. Some bullshit. I hope it doesn't get erased. My chat got messed up. Okay, so guys, I'm gonna end this video as I'm sitting here trying to read y'all comments, and the phone is just acting stupid. So I'm gonna get off of here. It's great talking to y'all. I'm looking forward to meeting and getting to know more of you all. Make sure y'all email me for those NDAs if you want to get into the group. I said I was gonna cut it off at 100, and I'm actually at like 95 right now, but I know I'm gonna be booting some people out, so I am gonna be allowing some people in. So I don't need no dead weight hold me down, just in my group, just lurking around. So you know that ahead of time. If that's what you plan to do, don't even come fucking around, because I'm not for the fuckery. I'm not for the fuckery at all. So with that being said, you guys, I love you all. I appreciate you all's time and your energy. If you'd like to make a donation, I'll hit me up. Just email me. I'm gonna put some stuff in the description area of this video. But you can always go to previous videos and look in the description area, and there are this information in there as well, to be able to contact me and access me. So with that being said, I love y'all. It's your girl, Empress Shay. I will see you all on my next video. And hopefully I'll see you in class if you get there soon enough. Have a good one, y'all. Peace and love. Islam.